My name is Aaron Zamarron. I am 29 years old and I live in San Francisco, California. I'm currently working as a personal trainer in the Castro, as well as I will work as a nightlife performer on the nights and weekends. Flow arts is how I define it is it's a form of dance and it's a form of movement where you're using a prop to tell a story about what you're experiencing or what you're feeling, or there's so many different layers of it. But essentially it is when you flow from one trick to another seamlessly. So there's so many different things that you could do, and it's about your energy, your movements, your prop, all flowing together and telling a story. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's playful. It can be frustrating sometimes. As a kid, I was curious about fire dancing, and I would see people fire dancing in movies, and I thought it was really cool, and I always believed that it was something that I wouldn't be able to do. I don't know why. It was just not something that was on my radar, and I was at Dolores Park and I saw somebody spinning poi, and then they sent me to this place called the Temple of Poi, and when I was there I met somebody else who referred to me a website. So it was a bunch of like searching, and it was like a quest, but I ended up coming into the flow arts community through Liam a few hours after I got my first poi, and from there it was from like one prop to another prop. So working as a personal trainer, I study a lot of body mechanics and the way the body moves, and also just flowing from one client to another. If I'm coming into work and I'm not prepared, then I am kind of in a state where I am thinking of what I need to do on the spot. However, if I'm prepared and I spend time focusing on what I'm doing with each client, I enter a state of flow where I go into work, train all my clients, the next thing you know, it's like I'm off. It just goes by like that. Whereas if I'm not prepared, it is as if I am. Things take a lot longer. Same thing when it comes to my flow. If I go on to perform and I'm not prepared with what I'm gonna do, then my movements are a little bit rigid, my energy is a little bit distracted and anxious, and it shows. Versus being prepared and ready to go, you have just this sequence of almost seamless movements that you execute, and your crowd is like in awe. Flow arts brings to my life a sense of peace and a sense of meditation, as well as progression. And what I really appreciate about it is it's kind of like a puzzle where you see certain things happening that you don't really know what exactly is going on, but you really like the way they look. And in your progress and practice, you learn different things, and it's about piecing together these different moves to kind of like tell a story. You're mixing different elements from the ambiance of the room, to your energy, to the type of prop you're using, to the size of prop that you're using, to the color of the prop that you're using. Maybe it's the color of your lights, the number of wicks that's on your prop. All these different things play into the narrative that you're sharing through your flow. And I personally like it because it's incredibly expressive and it could be very artistic. Well, I make time for it for at least an hour a day to practice at least 5 to 6 days a week. And what it helps me to do is it helps me to come to a place of calm. Sometimes if I'm dealing with sometimes if I'm dealing with something, it helps me to get to the bottom of what it is. I may not be fully conscious of it, but I feel that there's something going on, and I will take a break, let my brain focus on something else. And sometimes I've had flows that were so perfect and precise that I end up crying afterwards because of all this stuff that just surfaced. And at that moment, it's like, okay, so it's like your meditation is complete. This is your homework now. This is what you need to work on. So I use it as a way to, as a kind of therapy, almost, for my own personal life. Sometimes to get a break, sometimes to have a little bit of fun. And then in my nightlife, I use it as a way to make adults feel like little kids. Because when you have a really, really good, clean flow, people are hypnotized by it. And you look at your crowd and everybody's facial expressions is like... So I like feeling like a little kid. And everybody likes feeling that sense of wonder that we used to experience when we were kids. And to be an artist and to be able to give that back to people, that's incredibly powerful to me.